Hi guys, Tie-Dye Chris here. So today I'm gonna do kind of a little experiment slash tutorial. If it works out, it'll be a tutorial. So as many of you know, I am a tie-dye artist and therefore I have access to a lot of dye. So I thought, we tea dye and we coffee dye. What would happen if we just tried using tie-dye on our paper? So this isn't like the alcohol inks. This is actual tie-dye dye, and see what happens. Okay. So I'm just gonna set you here. There we go. Okay. So what I have here, I have a pair of gloves. I have a tub, and I've put about an inch of water in it. I have some Dharma fiber reactive dyes, and I've got my upcoming sci-fi journal that I'm going to be working on. So I thought eggplant might be a good color to put in there. It's kind of a deep, kind of a spacey purple, you know. I'm hoping it works out. We'll see. And what I'm going to do, I've put like a little teaspoon of soda ash, which is a mordant, in here. I don't know if it would be necessary. It is when you're trying to tie-dye on fabric, and the thing with tie-dye, with this type of dye, is it bonds with natural fibers, including wood, and paper is basically wood. So I hope that it works out. Just have to wait and see. I'm hoping that we get some kind of a groovy effect. So I'm taking just a little bit less than a tablespoonful here, and we'll put it in here. Go ahead and mix it around a little bit. And I don't suppose you'd actually have to touch the dye if you didn't want to. You know, you could use like some tongs or something to put the paper in and out if you didn't have rubber gloves, but I don't have tongs. I'm just going to use my fingers. I apologize if you hear my washer going in the background. My studio here is right next to the laundry room, and with 2 teenagers and living under this roof with me and my husband, that thing's always running. There's really not a whole lot of time where the washer is not being used. Alright, so there's a few little other spots I haven't mixed in, but I think it'll be fine. It seems like it's mixed up pretty well. So I have some scrap paper. This was some stuff that, you know, was printed on. It didn't quite come out. There's actually faint lines on it, which might be kind of cool for journal paper. So let's see what happens. So I'm setting that one in there. Now, with this type of dye, in order for it to set, you know, it has to sit for like 24 hours. But that's on fabric, you know, on something that you're going to wash out and reuse. So with paper like this, I just don't think it's going to necessarily need to be rinsed or anything like that. That's my theory anyways. I want to show you here. I've got I have a couple of these giant sheet pans that I found on the side of the road once. So they are like perfect for doing arts and crafts and things I need to lay out and dry here in my office because they're movable. So I'm just going to line it with some of my rags here. I have rags that I use in my tie-dyeing, plenty of them, but you know, if you want to, if you have an old t-shirt or something that you would want to dedicate, I just figure it'll, you know, catch some of the drips anyways. Alright, so let's pull it out. See what we got. Ooh, it's very loose. Ooh, look. I don't know if you can see that, but it's drippy looking. Almost looks watercolor, and the dye powder is doing really cool things that you probably can't see with the camera. Alright, so the trick is to get it over here without dripping it everywhere. I think I'm gonna move the pan here. Nice. Oh, you guys, I think I'm onto something here. All right, let's do another one. I bet you could probably do a bunch of them at once, but they might be hard to separate. Here's one I already crinkled up. Kind of got torn a little bit. I like it how they look when they're crinkled, so maybe it'll give us a little bit of a different effect. Yeah. That looks pretty cool. Oh, I got both of them at the same time. They stuck together. What do you know? Okay. Uh-oh. I tore it trying to get it apart. Well, it's my first time trying to dye paper, so I guess there's a learning curve. Anyways, I'm going to still hold on to it because it's going to be a cool paper whether it's torn up or not. I can use it to decoupage and glue with. I'm sure if you went to decoupaging with this after having dyed it, and you tried to brush anything on there with decoupage or a wet kind of glue, your brush and the edges would probably pick up the dye. Just as a heads up, that I don't know if it would be the best technique that you would want to use if you're concerned about the dye not running into other areas. But I think as far as like putting stuff on there, making a journal page out of it, like using a glue stick or something like that, it might work out pretty good. And I'm liking what I see so far. I'm gonna do one more piece. I think I got room for one more piece for right now. I mean, these are gonna have to probably dry overnight. I could probably speed that up with my heat gun if I was that motivated, but I'm not. This is just playing around. Huh. All right, now this one's coming out a little lighter, like the first couple ones might have taken the vast majority of the dye. I don't know. It's turning out really cool though. I wonder if they're gonna be lighter in color after they've dried. Yeah, that one's definitely lighter than the first two. So apparently the dye does exhaust after a while, which is a thing. If you don't know anything about dyeing, when they say that the dye exhausts, that means that you've kind of gone through all the usability of the dye powder. So a little jar like this is 2 ounces. It's available at Dharma Trading Company or dharmatrading.com. For those of you that aren't into the fiber arts and don't know, they're like the #1 premier resource in the US for all things fiber arty. You know, they just kind of have a generic all around good supply of things. If you go down the rabbit hole with certain types of fiber art, you might try a different site, but Dharma has a lot of really cool shit. Anything you need for tie-dyeing, anything you need for batiking. They have wool, they have fabrics by the yard, stuff like that. Tons of dyeable clothing. But they have a nice selection, and these are just the regular tie-dye dyes. You would want to just go for the generic Dharma tie-dye dyes. They also have a huge selection of other types of dyes by other manufacturers, but their dyes are really affordable. So for this one, for about 2 ounces here, you're looking around $4 maybe. You know, it's not completely unreasonable. And they vary in cost by color. Yeah, they vary in cost by color because some colors just have more expensive ingredients. Okay, so I'm gonna shut this off for now, and I'll be back after a while. I don't know if I can turn this off with my gloved finger, and then I'll show you the results after they're dry. Hi guys, so I'm back and the paper here has been outside drying and I think it turned out really nice. I'm real excited about it. So there's a few little rips and tears in some of them, but I don't know if you can see in the light that I have here, but I really like how it turned out. It's got that nice kind of mottled effect like you would get tea staining. And here's how the one looks that was crumpled before it went into the dye. Of course, it ripped up, but I still think it looks really great. So I'll probably still utilize this in some way or another. And, they all pretty much look similar, but I think it's success. I'm calling this one a success. And I like that, you can, oh, here's one that there was a sheet laying on top of it, kind of sideways, and look at the cool pattern that happened on there just from that other sheet laying on top of it. It's kind of variegated. I really like it. So I think that, having all the different colors that I have of tie-dye dyes available, I think that I'll definitely be doing more hand-dyed paper in the near future for different projects. It's nice to be able to custom make a piece of paper for something that you're doing. I mean, I know that coffee dyeing, tea staining, all that's been around for a while, and I've seen a couple videos. I checked it out on YouTube just to see, while the paper was drying. I was just curious if anyone else had thought about using the fiber reactive dyes to dye paper with. And I mean, there's a few videos out there, but I'm not sure that they're using the same kind of dye. So like you see here, you see how I got, like, that's the dye powder. That's the components of the dye powder. So it makes that cool kind of speckled mottled effect on the paper, which is really great. And there's something else you can do with this dye that I did a while back, and I haven't told you guys about it yet. But you can make your own dye sprays. And I did this one here. You cannot mix it with alcohol. I know because I tried. I thought, well, it would really be great if I could make like my own alcohol sprays, like alcohol inks. But I did add like a little bit of alcohol to this after I put the water and the dye in it. So I wanted a pink spray. I didn't have a pink spray on hand, so I'll just show you basically how well this one works. And I've been using it quite a bit. So if you invest in some of those dyes, some of the powdered dyes, you can have your own, like, just sky's the limit palette of sprays to make your papers with. And it dries pretty quickly. So, I mean, there's not like they dry quite as fast as like an alcohol spray, but this one, I've been using it right along with my dye illusions and with my glimmer mists. And I know that there's ways to make your own glimmer mists too. If you wanted to make something that was similar to glimmer mists, just take and make your dye and add some perfect pearls in with it. So, I mean, all that stuff I think would work out pretty well. So there's that. And then the last thing I want to do before I let you guys go, this is a two-part video. If you were just interested in the paper part, you can, take off at this point. But the last thing I wanted to do is show you some cool stuff I got today. This is a little bit of a haul I found for the sci-fi journal coming up, and I'm going to make a whole separate video just of the ephemera that I've collected so far for the sci-fi journal. So that's going to be a whole separate video, but I just want to show you I went up to the comic book store, which I hadn't really thought about as a resource, And I went in there and they had a whole wall of these really groovy little dudes, and they were only $1 a piece, and they even came in their own plastic containers. And there was just tons of them. They're just prints that this artist made. I think he's in Ohio, and what's his name? R-A-K, down there at the bottom if you want to try to look him up. But I mean, I found all kinds of goodies for the sci-fi journal, and then also for the Star Wars journal coming up. All his dudes look like they got a little attitude. You're like, they're all a little mean, but I mean, Yoda, you gotta love it. Yoda looks like he's ready to kick some ass. So I found that there, and I found some comic books and some things that I'll be, putting into the upcoming sci-fi journal. So I was excited. I think I got all of this for $8. That was, I mean, these were all out of the bargain dollar bin. I went in there and said to the guy, I said, look, I'm going to be tearing this stuff up. So if you got a problem with me tearing it up, don't show me your good stuff. Just show me where the bargains are. I don't want to tear up anything that's worth anything, collectible or anything like that. So they were really cool about it. And, I walked in there and sure enough, I wasn't disappointed. There was a bunch of nerds sitting around playing role-playing games, rolling dice and stuff. It was like something out of Big Bang Theory. It was great. I mean, I was just like, I was kind of like my inner nerd was coming out a little bit. It was funny because Dave went in there with me and, we were walking around and stuff, and Dave was just kind of being quiet and checking it all out. And I'm like, oh, look, it's Kylo Ren. And I'm like nerding out. I'm going, gosh, which one of us is the big nerd? All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy the tie-dye paper. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to put the link below for Dharma Trading, for the company I buy the dyes from. They're not the only one out there, by the way, that you can get tie-dye dyes from. They're just the one that has the biggest selection in the smallest quantities, which is what you guys want. You don't want to go all out and get like 8 ounces or 10 or 12 ounces or a pound of dye. You're never ever going to use that much dyeing paper. But starting out with the little 2-ounce bottles, maybe just a simple palette of them, and you can mix them too. They're just like paints. So, they're water soluble, so you can mix and match those colors together. If you really want to try to get a whole palette, here are the colors I recommend. Being the tie-dye artist that I am, these are the 5 basic colors that you need that you can mix through. You need lemon yellow. Lemon yellow mixes with everything just about. You need fuchsia. You need a good black. You need turquoise. That's it. Lemon yellow, fuchsia, black, and turquoise are all you need to get the entire rainbow. And I'll let you guys play around with that if you want to and see what you can come up with. But if the hard colors to mix by hand would be red and well, brown's not so tough once one of the ways I like to make a good brown is with purple and orange. Purple and orange, they don't mix. They make brown every single time. So anyways, if you want a decent brown, and then you can take that brown and you can lighten it up by adding water to it, or you can darken it down by adding a little black to it. So there's just lots of ways, you can play with these dyes. Anyways, I'm not going to get deep into dye theory and color theory with you guys right now. That'll be a different video also for a different day. And hopefully soon I'll be actually posting a tie-dye video. Wow. What a novel idea, Chris. You're tie-dye Chris, and yet you don't have any freaking tie-dye videos. Well, believe me, I got a lot of knowledge up here about tie-dyeing. I just don't know if I'm ready to share it all. You know what I'm saying? I worked hard for that stuff. There's other people sharing a lot of stuff about tie-dyeing, but I charge people $100 to teach them everything I know about tie-dyeing. So I don't know if it would really be fair to my other students if I just put it all out there on YouTube. But you can expect some basic tie-dyeing videos from me in the near future also. I'm just too into paper crafting right now. I love it too much. I'm just having too much fun. I have to bring myself back to the dye table soon though. I know I do because, there are people who want tie-dyes from me. And I've been so neglectful. They're going to go to somebody else if I don't get on the ball. Okay guys, so that's it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.